They are the powerful weight loss drugs popular with Hollywood stars.
After taking a medication for type 2 diabetes that's also...
It's a drug in high demand, but doctors say people are now grabbing up Ozempic for the wrong reason.
What's the big deal about the drug, and why does the hype have the medical community concerned?
Righto, welcome to the latest instalment of our WingFit video series. Today I've got the lovely Kendall with me. He's going to help add some value. So something you may have seen, which feels like it's across every kind of Hollywood actor, actress at the moment, is a weight loss drug that was originally designed for type 2 diabetics. So we wanted to make a video that is not necessarily medical advice. Excuse me. It is more, I guess, from a point of you either may know someone or someone may offer it to you or tell you about it, and at least you'll have some information to make an informed decision. Perhaps you're another trainer who is watching this and inevitably you have a client or something of that nature, and you will also have something to draw back on and talk to them about it and have a detailed discussion. So we'll try and overlay a flowchart here, and that'll show you exactly how it works. Essentially, Novo Nordisk is the company that makes it. It is branded or sold under the brand name of?
Semaglutide.
Or Ozempic.
Or Ozempic, sorry.
And then the...
Semaglutide is the actual drug that it actions. So
yep.
We know that it can suppress the appetite. That's one of the main symptoms that people get by taking it, which decreases food intake throughout the day.
What pathway does it actually
also
work
acts on
GLP-1.
GLP-1,
right?
yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, which kind of squeezes the pancreas, releases insulin into the blood, and then obviously that insulin is able to carry its sugar molecule more easily into the muscle when it knocks on the door of those muscle cells.
So the reality is, I think humans, we are designed to be the most efficient as we possibly can. So we were always going to look for the easy road where possible. So it doesn't surprise me that this is taking off and kind of people are like, yeah, I'll jump on this, particularly, you know, I've always struggled with my weight. Sure. And there doesn't seem to be, you know, I mean, there is some side effects, but maybe they're not aware of them. So it just doesn't surprise me that people are going to go down this route. Now, as a practitioner, I don't think my ethics would allow me to suggest that that is something we should go ahead and do as, you know, a starting block or...
For sure, yeah.
But on the same coin, I would like to think that I'm the type of trainer, if someone was already on that and they came to me and said, hey, can you help me? I'm open to that, and I'm not just going to chastise them and say, listen, you're lazy, taking the cheap way out. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from it.
Yeah, and I think it all feeds back to setting the foundation. So if somebody is on it as a tool to try and reduce their weight, that's going to have an overall impact on that person, how they feel as well. And from a trainer point of view, I think we can work with those 100%. Types of clients and make sure they're educated about the different types of mechanisms of this drug, what it acts upon, and really try and give them the best chance overall for a healthier lifestyle.
And a good outcome.
And a good outcome. Yeah.
So I think you've kind of jumped ahead of where I wanted to come into it. I think the allied health stuff definitely is important at the back end and under the positives, I guess. Let's start with the negatives, or the detrimental side effects that come with using this. How do you actually take the drug?
So it's through a injection once weekly at the moment. I believe they are bringing out a one that is every day. Is it?
Yeah, I think that's part of
the semaglutide. There's like another brand name of a semaglutide that's taken.
Well, there's currently only one company that makes it, and they cannot keep up with production.
Yep.
So one of the problems that I see there is that people using it for the non-intended market client, I guess, are taking that away from type 2 diabetics. So no doubt there is going to be a rush of big pharma who are scurrying at the moment to try and get a generic version so they can get some of this market share. But currently we have a serious shortage of it.
Yeah, which feeds into the issues that we're facing with type 2 diabetes management And for those people that are on the drug and that have worked really hard to try and control their blood glucose levels with allied health professionals in a safe manner, we're seeing disruptions in their blood glucose level monitoring throughout the week because they can't actually get access to this drug. So I think that also feeds out into like its design purpose originally from the company.
Yeah.
So
one of the things, I had a conversation with a friend of mine at the golf club that I play at, and he's lost 20 kilos. I don't know the exact number. I think it's roughly around there. And I was reading about it, and I messaged him and I said, listen, I know vomiting is a side effect of this. You know, where are you at? And he said, oh, I've been on it for 6 months now. I vomit maybe once every 2 months.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
Which to me, I mean, I don't know if I'm okay with that, but I guess it brings me back to, well, it's not my position to tell someone what they are and aren't okay with.
Yeah.
But I know we have a big variation of, you know, I would suggest he's probably on the latter end of the symptoms.
I think from what I've heard, some people can get symptoms throughout each and every day, throughout the week that they're on this drug. And that can be nausea, vomiting, like you said, so the actual physiological side of things.
Yep. And then the other end of that spectrum is kicking into then the gastroparesis, which is the stomach paralyzation.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I was reading the other day, very clickbaity. Some people have got it, which that's horrible for them, obviously, but
Isn't
actually quite rare.
Common,
it's not a common symptom,
Yeah.
but it is a common headline,
For sure.
which is not ideal.
Yeah.
So again, if you're going to take that, or if you're going to suggest it to people, I think you need to make them aware of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not super common. From the doctors I've been listening to, reading to, it's not a huge concern.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously at the lower risk end, you can obviously get hypos.
Yes.
If you're not consuming enough glucose within your diet, and if there's a mechanism lost in there and your insulin secretion happens, there is a slight chance that you might reach a low.
Yeah.
So.
That's less concerning for me as opposed to the systemic muscle mass decreases that we see across the time periods that people are using this.
Yes, yep.
It's not a new drug necessarily. It's been out since 2012, I believe, but it's really only the last maybe 8 years that it's been treated for obesity patients or overweight patients. But the extreme calorie deficit and the lack of protein leads to huge muscle mass losses.
Education around the nutrient-dense diet and trying to fulfill your diet with those macros needed to be able to maintain tissue is kind of lost through the educational portal of prescription of Ozempic. And, I think decrease in muscle mass, we can see does lead to frailty in those older populations, can have detrimental effects on the living and the ability to undertake normal daily activities in those older adults that we can see. Decreasing bone mineral density is another one that we can see from being nutrient deficient as well.
Yep.
So just not getting enough nutrients within their diet because of that low calorie eating is,
Yeah, absolutely. The weight regain. So once they actually come off the drug, and I'm quoting from the company that makes it themselves, almost everyone will regain their weight within inside 5 years, and that can be anywhere between 50% all the way up to over 100%. So you actually end up worse than when you started, and you can see that 50% regain start within 2 to 3 years, basically.
Yeah. And do you think that's because of the behaviour change, like people don't want to change their habits by taking the drug, or?
I think if it was as easy to change your habits and just do it, we wouldn't see 60% of the population overweight or whatever that is. So I 100% believe that that's because when they take this, there is no structure around them from, they're not seeing a dietitian, they don't have that allied health team.
That support,
and people speaking, I guess, in truths to them, like, listen, this is maybe a starting point, but you've got to get to the next position.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then they're not actually getting any of the habitual changes or education around, okay, well, what is calorie density versus, this and that and output and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So, which we'll touch on later on when we get into how we would work with a client that's on that, from that allied health perspective. But yeah, I think that not changing a habit and just being happy that it's working while you're on it is very short-sighted, and we're seeing that with the stats that are coming out. So,
and what about like the positives then?
Good. I was going to lead into that.
Yeah.
For me, again, if someone's on it, brilliant. Let's work with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all-cause mortality is going to go down. I think it's about once you lose about 10% of your total body weight, you start to see the all-cause mortality, so things you will die from, start to really go down or exponentially go down. So that may be a nice little win, little snowball effect to, okay, let's get in there, get that down.
Yeah.
I personally went, right, well, if they've lost 20 kilos, maybe they're more inclined to go to a gym because they're less self-conscious.
Yep.
Their ankles hurt less, their knees hurt less, their back hurts less because they're carrying less weight. They're more likely to do things, and that's something we can use to kind of get on from there.
For sure, yeah. And we can also talk about the risk factors associated with obesity and even the overweight population. Obviously, cardiovascular risk factors can then be taken into account of decreasing that weight, and those cardiovascular risk factors are then reduced.
So it's down by 20%.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
One of the studies I was reading, so over 4 years they studied these people taking this, and their cardiovascular risk factors went down by 20%, which is huge. So again,
it's massive, yeah.
Maybe that leads someone to think, well, I can work out because I'm less likely to have a heart attack.
Yeah, and we can see with that fall of weight, hypertension's a little bit more better managed.
Receptive,
as well. Glucose uptake, again, is able to be utilised and not go down the path of burning out neurons or nerves or other tissues as well. So
all of those things fall under the heading for me as like a springboard effect. So if someone's in front of me, and I haven't yet had the conversation with this person at the golf club, but I plan to, and say, listen, well, it kind of started because he said to me, he's like, I don't want to go back to being that fat guy. Well, okay, let's use this as a springboard. Like, let's work it then. Like, what do we need to do? Who do you need to see? And it may not be me. Who do you need to see to get in your team so that this is the kickstart that you need?
The foundation.
You've had a little taste, and I was saying to you the other day, if someone gave me $1 million home to live in for 6 months and then took it away from me, perhaps I would be more driven. I've got a taste of that. I'm like, man, that'd be so good. Maybe that's what this can do for people, is give them a little taste so that they can then go, right, you know what? I'm in. Let's do it.
I do like that analogy, and again, it's real world. Like, we're not talking about like people that are in studies, because this is practice. Like, this is what 100%. We're seeing in the industry. So
So I think that springboard effect has to go back to, or loop back to, what you're saying with the allied health team. Dietitian, someone who's looking after their gym and doing it the right way.
Monitoring glucose, being able to train them efficiently and effectively, and being able to ensure they're under that nutrient-dense diet, under a supportive team.
Looking after muscle mass, bone density, all that type of stuff. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you are leaving the video with a little bit more information about Ozempic, and if you've got any questions, throw them through. Can't promise we'll have answers, but we can certainly look them up. Stay tuned for the next one.
Cheers. Thank you.